Students, today we are going to discuss about the working mechanism of a four-stroke petrol engine. As the name indicates, here the piston reciprocates 4 times to complete a power stroke, and because of the up and down movement of the piston, the connecting rod oscillates and the crankshaft rotates. Students, important point to tell you about the movement of the connecting rod is that its motion is oscillation. That is, there is difference between reciprocation and oscillation. The piston reciprocates. That means it 100% moves along y-axis, whereas oscillation means the connecting rod deviates from y-axis. So because of the reciprocating movement of the piston, the connecting rod oscillates, and that is why the crankshaft, that is, rotates. And the connecting rod is connected with the piston at its small end by means of the piston pin, and at the crankshaft by means of the big end. Okay. And here, as the four-stroke petrol engine, the name indicates, during the suction stroke, the inlet valve opens and the outlet valve remains closed. So the fresh charge from the carburetor through the intake manifold enters into the combustion chamber, that is the space above the piston head and below the cylinder head. Similarly, during the compression stroke, both the suction valve, both the inlet valve and the outlet valve remains closed. Similarly, at the end of the compression stroke, ignition stroke occurs. That is, the compressed charge comes in contact of the power being produced at the spark plug, and at last, during the exhaust stroke, the outlet valve opens and the gases are liberated. So here the charge means, in case of a petrol engine, the charge means it is the combination of air and fuel, and this combination of air and fuel is otherwise known as carburation. So this carburation takes place inside the carburetor. From the carburetor, the charge, that is the mixture of air and petrol in suitable proportion, is supplied through the intake manifold up to the inlet valve. Okay. So after the opening of the inlet valve, the charge enters into the combustion chamber. During the compression stroke, both the valves remain closed, and during the ignition stroke, the compressed charge comes in contact of the spark plug, and during the exhaust stroke, the outlet valve opens and the exhaust gases are liberated. So when the charges are ignited inside the combustion chamber, gases are produced. The gases expand, and because of the expansion of that gas, one thrust is applied on the head of the piston. That is why the piston moves downward. That motion is transmitted up to the crankshaft through the connecting rod. So the crankshaft gets the drive and it rotates. Students, a very important point to remember about this four-stroke petrol engine is that the crankshaft makes twice revolution per minute to complete a working stroke. That is, in case of a four-stroke petrol engine, one power stroke is obtained in 2 revolutions of crankshaft, whereas in case of a two-stroke petrol engine, in 1 revolution of crankshaft, power is produced. So this is all about your working of four-stroke petrol engine, students. And similarly, the power stroke is also obtained in case of a diesel engine with a very little difference. That is, in case of a diesel engine, the spark plug is absent. Instead of spark plug, the injector is present. That is, in case of also in case of a diesel engine, the charge is something else. That is, only the compressed air enters into the combustion chamber through the opening of the inlet valve. Similarly, during the compression and power stroke, both these two valves remain closed. The air is highly compressed, and at the end of that compression stroke, the highly compressed charge comes in contact of the diesel being injected through the injector into the combustion chamber, and that air gets burnt. At the end, during the exhaust stroke, the exhaust valve opens and the gases are liberated through the outlet valve. So the major difference between this petrol engine and diesel engine is that in case of a 4-stroke petrol engine, in petrol engine spark plug is present, whereas in case of diesel engine injector is present. In case of petrol engine, the combination of air and fuel, air and petrol is the charge, whereas in case of diesel engine only compressed air is the charge. This is all about the working of a 4-stroke petrol engine and diesel engine.